You know, God is not an enabler. So many times we think of God as a God that will get us out of trouble, that we've oftentimes gotten ourselves into, or that God will bless us with things, money, and yet we forget that God is spirit, not flesh. Even in our churches, we are often taught that if you trust God, He will bring you out of situations and circumstances, or if you pay your tithes, you will have so much money that you won't have enough room to put your stuff. We're taught to lean and depend on God without any consequences on our part. And all we have to do is be faithful to a church and just keep on praising and praise breaking, and we will get a breakthrough. Listen to this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with leaning and depending on God. However, the leaning and depending should not be on God, but on us. The Word tells us to lean not to our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge Him, and He will give us revelation and insight. Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, tells us that. But listen, when God is only looked on for our escape and not looked on as our Father in heaven, what happens is we fail to comprehend the purpose of our destiny for which we were created. Many times seeking God has turned into gimme prayers, and church becomes an escape from the worries of life. There's no place in the Bible that God enabled anyone. As a matter of fact, He allowed them to go through hardship, challenges, the fiery furnace, the Hebrew boys, Daniel, the lion's den, your family, issues in life. Life itself is not an enabler. You know, there's a spirit that has broken up families and has torn up marriages, that has caused many to be dependent upon their own emotions of others. It has created an enabling society that's dependent on things instead of our God-given power to create, to manifest, to cause the right circumstances that will work in our favor. A child spoiled and got everything that he or she wanted, but has such a bad disposition, a bad attitude, and don't understand the word no, the word stop, or be careful. When parents enable their children, they will grow up and will have a strong sense of entitlement. And throughout their lives, they will feel that they are privileged to receive special treatment from others, regardless if they've earned it or not. This is why we have a serious problem with grown little children in important positions of authority. These individuals become lawyers, doctors, pastors, law enforcers, and even president. There's a word called consequence, and the lack of embracing this word has created a society that has no conscience of right and wrong. This word consequence is necessary for us to have a successful life, successful homes, and successful businesses. Everything we say and do, and everything that we think has consequences. You know, if all of us as fathers and mothers, grandparents, uncles and aunties, cousins, sisters, brothers, pastors, teachers, would embrace this word consequence, you know, we would have a better world by having people that understand everything on this earth has consequences. Even the weather, nature itself. Don't ever allow this enabling spirit to rule you and build walls against consequences. You know, these walls will trap you in a world that is self-centered and incapable of seeing anyone else in the world but yourself. The spirit of narcissism comes from an enabling environment. This spirit produces hatred and bigotry of all kinds, racism and culture bullying. This all comes from an enabling spirit. You know, this is why many use religion to justify hatred and has caused many generations of people to enable each other to hate instead of love. This enabling spirit only seeks to destroy us. Don't allow it and never enable others. Listen, when we enable someone, we seek to control them. When we allow others to enable us, we give them control over us. Understand this. People often say that God is in control, but I'm telling you, He's not in control. God does not need control over us because God is sovereign. And now I speak in your life that every spirit that comes to enable your lower nature will be incapable from this day forward of operating any longer. And I decree that this enabling spirit will vanish from your life forever. This is Rodrick Owensby. Thank you.